again. Thank you so much for tuning in to Bhagavatam Bites, hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We are reading today from
Canto 4, Chapter 27, Text 12.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Right, text 12. Thus King Paranjan, being attached to fruitive activities, karma kandya, as well as kith and kin, and being obsessed with polluted consciousness, eventually arrived at that point not very much liked by those who are overly attached to material things. Purport. In this verse, the words Priya Yoshitam and Apriya are very significant. The word Yoshit means woman, and Priya means dear or pleasing. Death is not very much welcome for those who are too much attached to material enjoyment, which culminates in sex. There is an instructive story in this connection. Once, when a saintly person was passing on his way, he met a prince, the son of a king, and he blessed him, saying, "My dear prince, may you live forever." The sage next met a saintly person and said to him, "May you either live or die." Eventually the sage met a brahmachari devotee and he blessed him, saying, "My dear devotee, you may die immediately." Finally the sage met a hunter and he blessed him, saying, neither live nor die. The point is that those who are very sensual and are engaged in sense gratification do not wish to die. Generally, a prince has enough money to enjoy his senses. Therefore, the great sage said that he should live forever. For as long as he lived, he could enjoy life. But after his death, he would go to hell. Since a brahmachari devotee was leading a life of severe austerities and penances in order to be promoted back to Godhead, the sage said that he should die immediately so that he need not continue to labor hard and could instead go back home, back to Godhead. A saintly person may either live or die, for during his life he is engaged in serving the Lord, and after his death he also serves the Lord. Thus this life and the next are the same for a saintly devotee, for in both he serves the Lord. Since the hunter lives a very ghastly life due to killing animals, and since he will go to hell when he dies, he is advised to neither live nor die. Yeah, nice instructive little example there. It's a nice test actually, isn't it, as devotees, like when you actually come up against something. If you hear this story and you might think, oh well, I don't want to die, you know. But then you can think, yeah, but why is that, you know, and where we are. And it's interesting, like in my mentee group back in London, I would regularly say, you know, that you need to get to know this person, this man that is Krishna, that you're basically dedicating your whole life to. You call out his name every day, and before you eat you try to remember him at least, and you try to read about him. And so then ordinarily when you're trying to get in a relationship, you're like, what's the person like, what's their family like, you know, have they got siblings, where do they live, all that sort of stuff, all the lineage. You try to get all info on all this, and it's like, and then we're trying to be Krishna conscious, I said, but we just don't be conscious of Krishna. So therefore there's the fear that subconsciously I don't want to go back to Godhead because it means I die, and it means I don't have sufficient information about back to Godhead or the man who I'm dedicating my life to, so why would I want to die and go back to Godhead? You know, it's subtle, and that fear actually comes from that lack of knowledge and going deeper and getting to know Krishna, basically.
Wow, that's very powerful. Yeah, I was taken aback by just how, well, Prabhupada's disappearance day, actually it was a week ago on Saturday, it wasn't this past weekend, and I gave class at Brooklyn, and when I was preparing for the class, I listened to a lecture Srila Prabhupada gave on Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance day. And Prabhupada starts by saying that the disappearance of a great soul can be explained by this story of a saintly person, Narada Muni, and his interaction with these 4 different people. And I wish I could remember, and that's why I was just trying to find it. I wish I could remember what he says to each one of them. Of course, Prabhupada says it here in the purport in English, but yeah, Prince, may you live forever, basically, because you're enjoying now, but at the end of your life, you're going to have exhausted so many of your pious credits, and then you're going to basically have to suffer in the next life. So better you live forever. And the brahmachari, better you die now, because you're in the perfect position. Better you go ahead and go back to Godhead before you get into any trouble. And then the butcher is the last one, but butcher, may you not live, not die. And because you're suffering while you're alive, butchering animals, and you're going to suffer when you die for the karmic reaction. So don't live, don't die. And to the a saintly person, either live or die, doesn't matter. Both are the same for you. So yeah, really, really powerful. So for the saintly person, birth and death are the same thing. It doesn't matter. Either way, they're fully engaged in the service of the Lord. So very powerful. King Paranjan finally arrived at the point of old age. In old age, the senses lose their strength, and although an old man desires to enjoy his senses, and especially sex life, he is very miserable because his instruments of enjoyment no longer function. Yikes.
Look at that. Sorry. Look at that cat.
Where? Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
There's a cat walking along the ledge of the rooftop. His instruments of enjoyment no longer function. Such sensualists are never prepared for death. They simply want to live on and extend their life by so-called scientific advancement. Some foolish Russian scientists also claim that they are going to make man immortal through scientific advancement. Under the leadership of such crazy fellows, civilization is going on. Cruel death, however, comes and takes all of them away, despite their desire to live forever. This type of mentality was exhibited by Hiranyakashipu, but when the time was ripe, the Lord personally killed him within a second, like that. So, very nice points. Prabhupada is honing in and focusing in on how people just want to continue to live, to try to enjoy, how often it's all driven by sex desire and the propensity to enjoy, even when the instruments for enjoyment no longer function. It reminded me of, I don't know the story fully, but I think it was Frank Sinatra that basically had his genitalia replaced, something so that he could somehow keep going. I don't know how that worked, but anyway, so, people like that, or you have so many surgeries and operations to make yourself look young and try to stay, fit and lean so that you're attractive to the opposite sex. Even if your instruments for enjoyment don't work. And then it'd be interesting to research this thing, because sometimes in Prabhupada's purports, it's a timely, topical thing. So here he says, some scientists have said, but he didn't say some scientists, he says some Russian scientists. So he's being very specific. So it must have been, if we look up, so probably Srila Prabhupada was translating this in the early 70s, pre-77 for sure, 4th canto, he got up to the 10th canto, so we're looking at probably 71, 72, and so there must have been this thing probably in the press where these Russian scientists declared, we will make man immortal. And Prabhupada just rips up the post-dated check, throws it in their face and says, anyway, you know, the joke is going to be on you, because at the time of death, Krishna is going to come and he's going to take you and all, you know, all your friends away. And there isn't anything you're ever going to do to stop it. So it's really, really powerful. And then he compares them to Hiranyakashipu. So nice. Just in one paragraph of a purport, so much. He compares them to Hiranyakashipu, who approached Lord Brahma to get all these boons and benedictions. If you haven't seen the, what's it called, Maha Avatar Nishringa or something like that, you should definitely see it. It's such a powerful movie. I'd like to see it again. But in that, Hiranyakashipu approaching Lord Brahma to get the benediction of immortality, told, you cannot be immortal because I am not immortal. Even Lord Brahma is not immortal. And it's interesting, we're reading about Lord Brahma at the moment in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Gopakumar is about to go to Satya Loka because Lord Brahma visited Tapaloka and everyone's bowing down. He's like, oh, who's he? So interesting. So I love it when you're reading and different things come up and they combine together. It's so beautiful. So Lord Brahma said, you can't be immortal. I'm not even immortal. But still, he wanted to not be killed in the air, on the land, and at night, or in the day, or by an animal, by man, like all those things. And then Krishna just created a whole form specifically to satisfy and undo all of those things that he thought would allow him to be immortal. And that was the form of Lord Nrsingadev, and he just placed him across his lap and completely disemboweled him. So like that, we can see that there's no cheating Krishna. You know, there's no cheating death. It's going to come whether we like it or not. And most people probably won't like it. Okay, should we read another one?
No.
Okay, we're going to keep it short and sweet.
I'm just feeling a discomfort.
Yeah, Bhava's not been feeling very well. So we're going to take a little break now. But at least we've done some reading today. And that is the goal, at least to do some reading daily. So like that. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.